Hold on. It says you're live now. I don't know if we're live.
Okay. Well, I've got it live on my phone right now, and it says live in 3 minutes. So we can chat shit for 3 minutes, and if somebody pipes up in the chat and tells us that we're actually broadcasting live, then that could be.
Is your chat on? Is your stream on there live, or is it when we started streaming?
That's a good question. I think it's live.
Yeah,
it doesn't give me the option to say whether it's live or not. It's just got the countdown for being live in 2 minutes.
We're
40.
an absolute failure. We are live. I can see us.
Oh, brilliant!
I don't have these problems with my channel, but I don't know what I did differently. There must be a hidden option.
Yeah,
there must be.
Because I've got an advert for Trading 212. Fucking Trading 212 adverts. Wish they.
I reckon you're just trying to stitch us up, John. You're afraid that our popularity will grow and that will reduce the popularity of the BAC.
One day,
make sure that we're a farce.
One day we will beat Brooklyn Nine-Nine for the level of cold intro that we have going here, and it'll just be, what the fuck are they talking about this time? God knows.
I mean,
anyway, so talking to the chat, Joel's with us. Hello, Joel. Mike's painted red. That's weird seeing you as painted red, Mike. That confused me for a second. Balanced Hydra's in there. We've got Sanguinius, Ariden.
Sanguinius, is this another Primarch I didn't get the reveal notes about?
Yeah, this is a failed Fabius Bile clone. He tried to clone Sanguinius from that Vile of Bloody stall of Corbulo, and it just sort of went wrong, and that result was Sanguinius.
Okay. Hi, Sanguinius. I hope you're not too bitter.
Harsh. I do apologize.
I mean,
hey, let's be a failed clone of Sanguinius and not,
I was
right?
going to say, they didn't come here. They didn't come here for the high level content, right? I mean, you say we're a failure. I can't even fucking see the chat on my screen. So
I'm on the hardcore fucking drinks this evening. Me having had this extraction 2 days ago. I'm on the milk today. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Milk was a bad choice.
Okay, so still looking at the chat. Ivan, hello. How are you? DTM. DTM's only here for John to be salty about something. Sanguinius agrees that he is a failed Primarch.
I'm
Dr.
so
Ginger's
desperate
here.
for some alcohol or a can of Coke. Oh my god, I want them so badly.
Mike's doing the classic got milk.
Okay. Lots of
Trevor
people
T's in the chat. We've got quite a few people coming into the chat, which is great news.
Hello, everybody.
It's been a while. Shouldn't we? I mean, since this is already such a serious stream, I've brought up the page. A mind-blowing new edition of Warhammer 40,000 is coming. Which language are we going to do it in tonight, guys? I mean, I'd vote for English, but we could do it in French, Italiano, Deutsch, Espanol, and then
do it in whatever you want. I can only read English, mate.
I mean, I don't know what the symbols are, so maybe we'll go with one of them.
They should have a translate it to Scottish button. That'd be good.
Yeah.
No, because then we wouldn't be able to understand it, because it's hard enough trying to understand John most of the time. Of exciting times. This is a Galaxy.
Yeah.
Whatever that is. Brass Castle Brewery, Galaxy, single halt, double DDH pale. So
that place where the Tyranids are now invading from the Galactic West rather than the Galactic East, or whatever the fuck is going on with that.
6.5%, so it looks quite tasty.
Yeah. It's better than my 0% milk, or maybe not. I always forget what milk tastes like when I haven't drunk it for ages.
That's no, there's too much we can do with that. And you've just
I've got to get a proper milk moustache at some point.
You've just
even better.
Was it innuendo overload? And I can't cope.
Okay, so everybody's coming in to hear our well-educated opinion on 10th edition.
I watch people are getting excited for 11th edition and Lemon Russ. Hi, Highland. Yeah, it is great to see the gang back together again. It's been a little while, and it still is going to involve me nipping off every so on and so forth to deal with the crying baby. So
and John will probably have to do the same thing again. At which point, if that ever happens and you're all left with me, I will crack out my joke book and you will all fucking regret it, because these are some seriously shit jokes.
And they're great jokes. I like them.
Fair enough. Okay, they appeal to Tony, for better or for worse. So, about 10 hours ago they did the stream? Thereabouts? Was it?
Yeah, I mean, it was a bit of a shocker for me, if I'm honest.
Oh, well, you haven't been listening to all the rumours.
Well,
that must be like 16 hours ago now. Yeah, fucking hell.
That's not quite fair. I have been listening to the rumours. And I did see that it was going to be, once they've done that website thing, it's going to be out 2020. We knew that was happening. Mm-hmm. But it was more that I was surprised they were announcing a new edition at Adepticon.
Yeah, especially when
a new edition was coming.
Especially when we got Warhammer Fest in about a month's time as well.
Yeah, that's where I was expecting Warhammer Fest for the... Because this is the first time a new edition of Warhammer has been announced outside the UK.
If you've been asleep for 10,000 years, Miguel, I think you'd be looking a little bit white as well, mate. So who are you to judge a Primarch? I mean, come
on. But yeah, so this is the first time a new edition's been announced outside the UK, and it just sort of shows that the focus has kind of shifted. The core market for Warhammer was always the UK and Europe, but now I think the biggest market is America, and it's showing with things like Adepticon reveals and that. Over the top of even Warhammer Fest at their own HQ.
Well, America is like fucking mountains bigger than the UK.
Oh, of course
the UK couldn't like fit twice over in Texas, as I understand it.
Something like that, yeah.
I don't know. What's the population of America at the moment?
I don't care.
How much do we care?
Even
up right now.
Even a little bit.
Talk about geek stuff.
Sure. Okay. Let's talk about deep stuff. So did you both manage to catch the stream, or are you clued up on everything, or what?
No, I didn't watch it. I woke up at 3:30 in the morning with insane tooth pain and thought, I don't want to get up and watch this. I want to try and get back to sleep.
I was actually ironically awake, but and I was sitting there and I was thinking, well, I'm awake as I'm listening. I think, well, I could try and watch the stream at the same time.
I watched it when I properly woke up at around about 6:30 or so. I looked at all the articles. I went, fuck, this actually looks really good. I better go back and watch the stream again. So I logged onto Twitch and then watched the stream not live. And that was actually worth doing, because I picked up quite a lot off the stream that wasn't on the official article, which is worth it.
There was loads on the stream that wasn't on the official article, to be fair.
Including my favourite line of the whole stream.
What was your favourite line of the whole stream?
Is Mike Brandt going, and there's going to be a new app, and it works.
You did say that.
I thought that was fucking hilarious. Good job, Mike. Well done.
That is bad. I'm just having a quick look. Miguel wants to know why do Primarchs age more faster than customers?
That's what I responded to just a moment ago.
Oh, right, that makes sense. I'm concerned it'll be like second or third ed, but nothing can be that shocking. I reckon it's going to be that shocking, to be honest, Hyland.
DTM, it works, quote 2023. Yeah.
I like that line from Turkey. I figured he was getting beauty sleep. Instead, he was just getting sleep.
Sleep. How many watchers were just like sitting over him going, he was sleeping for 10,000 years?
Mike, that really is the... I can't read that out on stream.
I mean, like what happened? He just woke up and was like, son of a bitch, I forgot to set an alarm on my phone.
I'm actually really looking forward to when Arxvome Book 5 The Lion comes out for a couple of reasons. One, I want to find out the circumstances behind the lion waking up and everything that goes on around that. And two, it looks like it's not just Arxvome 5 The Lion. It's looked like it's Arxvome 5 Angels of Death, featuring Dark Angels and Blood Angels together, kicking Chaos's ass.
Which seems weird to me. Maybe in the fluffy bit, but of course, like, Dark Angels and Blood Angels already had rules.
But I mean, it doesn't
rules for them twice.
I mean, they said so far on that stream that the big fight is going to be obviously the Lion versus Angron, but it's a bit more than that. It's on one side you've got Abaddon and Vashtor and Angron, and on the other side you've got the Lion and Azrael and Dante, all lined up in a big fucking melee, kicking off.
So who Trent's going to fight who? We know the Lion is going to fight Angron. Yeah,
Azrael and Vashtor had a bit of a tiff in book 3 that kind of went no score draw after Be'lakor weighed in and went, look at me, I'm Be'lakor. And obviously you got this whole Blood Angel thing going on. So Dante versus Abaddon should be pretty tasty.
That's
especially if it's new Primaris Dante as well.
Well, yeah, I mean he is Primaris.
Well, maybe Abaddon fucks him up so much he has to go back and then go over the Primaris Rubicon.
Yeah.
Maybe
that might be the way live, by the way. Sorry, someone just asked if we're actually live. We are really live. We are actually here. We are not a mirage, nor are we AI generated.
Yeah.
Because no AI would be that shit.
If we miss your questions, we apologise. If you super chat, it'll be very difficult for us to miss your questions.
Yes, good shout, Mark. We do accept super chats now, and we do.
Oh wow.
Here's a thought then. they leaked. Dante was leaked, accidental or non-accidental. We don't really know, but it was leaked anyway. Do you think?
Yes, it is nice.
Do you think? You think frequently? Yeah. This tells me that I'm on lack of sleep as well. I was going to say, do you think that they had planned another Blood Angels book?
No.
Because at the end of the Darkness and the Blood, Dante was close to Rubiconing. But he was tired.
Well be,
as in fiction, novel.
Yeah,
at some point.
Yeah, maybe, but do you think that? Because someone said in one of my chats or one of my things that it was like they were really upset that Dante had leaked because they wanted a new book about like Dante crossing the Rubicon. But if I remember correctly, and I could be wrong here, I'm pretty sure Mephiston's new model was announced, and then it was like a month or two later, Darkness of the Blood came out, because it was like we already knew he was Primaris before that book came.
That's about right. And it wouldn't surprise me if this book is it covers Dante crossing the Rubicon or in one way or the other. That wouldn't shock me in the slightest.
In the Lion Book 5, you mean?
Yeah, because the
hang on, stop the press.
What?
Mike super chatted.
There we get to see. Thank you so much, Mike.
It says super chat, yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby.
I think you have to do it in the Austin Powers accent. I think that's what he's
hang on.
Yeah, baby, yeah, groovy, baby.
You're Scottish, you should do it.
Is Austin Powers Scottish?
No, but Mike Myers is.
That bastard was a Scottish character.
No, but Mike Myers, the actor who plays
Powers, is I'm so sexy. Baby in my belly, baby in my belly. I've been singing freaking 2 years.
Get in my belly.
Get in my belly, baby.
Thank you so much, Mike. I appreciate the $2 super chat.
Apparently, zombies disappeared on our screen.
The actual plot for Mephiston crossing the Rubicon was covered in the Psychic Awakening book.
Mike Myers is Canadian. I thought Mike Myers was Scottish.
Are you sure? Are you 100% sure? Because you went through that in Darkness of the Blood.
I'm sorry, this is more important.
His rules were in the Psychic Awakening. I mean, I guess we could. I guess we can argue that. That's a moot point.
No worries. Okay. So the two main things that are pretty awesome that got announced are obviously the Lion, alongside of Arxfoam and the Lion, and 10th edition, and all the shit that is going on around 10th edition. So the models, the lore, and the rules drop we had for that are the big things that got announced.
That's he is Canadian.
I really love the new Lion model. I think it's shockingly good.
I'm tempted to buy it and just play the Blood Angels, to be totally honest with you.
I mean, the sword and the shield build for it. You could put the helmet on, and you could. Yeah, I can see that.
I just use the big
winged
helmet.
If I'm building him as the Lion, then I'm using the bare head because he looks so sort of like Tywin Lannister, badass knight errant kind of.
I prefer the bare head with the hood.
Okay.
That's my favourite one. That kind of like hooded, dark.
Yeah.
I think that looks wicked. I like the hood with the helmet underneath as well.
It's the Lion sword, really cool. But it's not the Lion sword. It's a special sword called Fealty, is what it was named. And that will be what happens until he gets his sword or the bits of his sword back off Cypher or something.
He's got loyalty on his backpack as well, hasn't he?
Has he?
Yeah, so
you won't find pictures of the Lion in that article, mate. That's a different article.
This one. So I was looking for.
Yeah, that's the one.
So is he going to be even more tanky than Rabute because he has the Emperor's shield?
Probably.
Possibly, but Gilliman's armor is also pretty tanky because it's meant to be like a life support system from the Admech, keeping him alive every step of the way.
He doesn't need it anymore, though, does he?
No, but it's still pretty tasty, I'm sure.
Right, because Belisarius Cawl made the fancy armor, and then he told Gilliman, whatever you do, take it off. So Gilliman was like, yeah, all right, mate, and took it off.
Right.
He said it hurt a bit, but he took it off anyway.
We already know that you can take any Primarch model in a list currently that is Space Marines, but I think Gilliman's bonuses for the Imperium are the fact that he's the regent of the Imperium. I'm not sure we'll get much that will benefit Imperium models on Lion's data sheet, but we'll find that out when book releases, really.
I'm genuinely looking forward to buying one and painting it.
The model just looks cool.
I think that's a really interesting question, actually, Mark, because they basically said they want army composition to be a hell of a lot easier. Like, you just take a warlord and you take units.
10th Ed, yeah.
Yeah. So what if you could argue that, like, they do want you to be able to take the Lion for any chapter?
Just because turn up in a fight.
Hang on, I've got to interrupt again.
Yeah, go for it.
Invader045 has just sent us $20 super chat.
Ooh, cheers,
20 for my favourite Grots. Nothing else to say. Have a good day. Cheers very much, Invader. It's really appreciated.
I will raise my milk to you, my friend.
We're going to put it in the fund for when we've got to rebuy all the codexes for 10th edition.
They said free rules. Someone mentioned that in chat just a minute. Free rules.
So I'll cover that now because what the fuck. So what they've said is that when 10th Ed comes out, day one, the rules for the game will be available free.
Yeah, but they said that about 9th, and they are.
Yeah, exactly. And that the indices with data sheets for every single unit in every single army and the 2-page spread for the army rules will be available for every army for free on day one.
Yes.
So I don't know, though, if they're going to
everything you need to play will be free.
I think it's going to be like the old 3rd edition indexes, because in the old 3rd edition rulebook, you had the index of all the armies, because when you moved from 2nd to 3rd, none of the old books would work. Whereas 3rd all the way up to 7th, the books were vaguely workable in the next edition.
They've also said you can buy paper copies if you want them. They will make them as books that you can buy if you want, which is cool to have the option and not have it be mandatory. Yeah. They've also said that the data sheets will be available as cards. So instead of buying little packets of stratagem cards and psychic cards and all that bollocks, you'll instead be doing it like the Age of Sigmar unit cards that they do, where each card will be a unit with the full data sheet rules on it, which is cool. I'm going to buy them.
Yeah, I mean, that's nice. If you're going to a tournament or an event with only 7 different units in the list...
Have you seen these cards? Are you familiar with what they are, what they do?
Yeah, I've got Age of Sigmar.
Okay,
I just haven't played it. It's
fair. I've got Lumineth ones nearby that I'd show off if you didn't, but that's fine.
Oh, don't wizard. We've got a couple of messages on here. Highland thinks it's only going to be Dark Angels, and he hopes the game doesn't become 3rd edition basic again because it's not been playing for over a decade.
I strongly doubt it will. Given everything they've shown off and said, all they're doing is taking the spread of rules in 20 zillion different places, putting it
all on a data sheet. Do you know what? Because can we zoom in on that a little bit? Is there
someone wants me to show me the cards. Give me a second.
Well, this is what one of your cards will look like, I imagine,
what one of the cards will look like. I don't like it. I think it's going to be what Highland's fearing.
Why?
Because I'll tell you why I think that. This works great, right? You've got Termagants there. They've got 3 possible options. They've all got the same melee weapon. That all works fine. I can see that. That's great. There's me basic troops choice. So how would your Bike Captain work on that, John?
Well, I mean, his relic and his warlord trait most likely won't be on that, right?
Right. But can you really see them making a card with every possible permutation and combination that a Space Marine captain could take?
Oh, no, not at all. All of those options are going to be stripped back.
Yeah.
I reckon they're going to pull Games Workshop think we don't take will be removed.
I think it'll go further. I think it will be everything that is not on a model. Like, you know, when 9th was coming out and things, and we got the first 8 ones, and it's like Primaris Lieutenant with Storm Shield and Relic Pistol. And that's it.
There's going to be some level of customization. If they're condensing all of the stratagems and warlord traits and psychic powers and relics onto 2 pages of army rules combined, there'll be some options. They'll be like minimal, but there will be some.
I reckon they're going to strip most of them out.
Oh yeah, totally. I totally agree.
Zach Force in the chat here saying that I reckon it's going to be dumbed down to mainly the competitive crowd. Well, I don't think it's not necessarily dumbed down to pay just for the competitive crowd. There's 2 markets I feel like they're going after with this one. One is the new player, because they've done that big thing of the the combat patrol versus combat patrol. It's a fixed army that you take, which is very much like Underworlds and things like that. By taking a fixed army, they can perfectly balance them together. So, and the second one is your competitive, because we've been saying for a while, I've been saying for a while, you can't balance Warhammer 40,000 in its current form because there's too many different possible options and too many combinations. By doing it this way, when you've only got a very fixed amount of units and they're very fixed setups for units, they're going to find it much, much easier to make a balanced competitive game. Now, my fear is that by going so hard on this, we're going to make the most balanced competitive game ever, that the mad shit that some of us love, like the customization,
that's going to have to go away by necessity.
That's going to have to go away
because you can't balance that many options.
So I fear that by making the game much more competitive and much more quick to change, which I know a lot of the competitive players love.
A lot of the variety is going to have to go. Yeah,
it's gonna leave a lot of us more fluffy players and loving it a little bit out.
Well, they did say Crusade is going to stay, so
in some form.
Yeah. I just want to pick up briefly on something Highlander said here. It's odd that the weapon has the ballistic skill, weapon skill. I disagree, and this is part of how they're streamlining things without making it simplified. Instead of having a weapon skill or ballistic skill on the stat line, why not put it on the weapon roll so that builds in? Let's say you have a power fist with -1 to hit. You don't have to put that. It has -1 to hit now. It's just part of the weapon skill roll.
Yeah, just mean weapon skill roll for power fist.
You're coalescing an extra rule that doesn't need to be there into a more straightforward place.
It also makes it so much easier for them to balance guns and weapons and shit. Because if we get to like where we are right now, you guys, I don't know if you saw the game against Eldar last night, but like there's just so much -3, -4 shit getting thrown around. Like as a Space Marine player, you never get a save, right? So they can just take data and go, you know, Howling Banshees are way too efficient at killing Marines, right? Like they're just way too efficient at killing Marines. So what we'll do is we'll just make the guy that gets like 15 attacks or whatever, we'll just give him weapon skill 5 for that one sword combination that gets all those extra attacks, and then that's balanced. We just need to update one thing in a card that's digitally available now, and guess what? We fixed a problem that we couldn't fix before, right?
On that, however, you just mentioned something that's brought something else to my mind about their huge amounts of AP and whatnot. GW also mentioned that the lethality of the game, as part of the rebalancing of every single unit everywhere, the lethality of the game is going generally a bit downward. So all the things that kill you quite as quickly aren't going to be killing you as much as they were. AP is not going to be anywhere near as common as it currently is, which, if you think about it in a certain way, kind of gives Space Marines Armor of Contempt back.
I think if
most guns have got 1 less AP or so than they used to have, or weapons.
I also think you could half AP and the game would be in a much better state.
They probably will be. There's a good chance that's happening.
They're certainly doing something, aren't they? I mean, looking at the stats
they also
of these guns on here, they're the same as they currently are. But
you'll have tanks with like toughness 11 now. So for example, like plasmas and multi-meltas and that will only wound tanks on 5s, which actually makes... Which this was something I loved the sound of, and this might be controversial as a Blood Angels player, but you guys know that I despise when the meta build said for Blood Angels you have to take 6 jump pack units and 4 jump pack characters, and if you take anything else you're an idiot. I despise that. I have loved in Arcs of Omen running 2 Bile Predators. I've loved running a Terax and a Gladiator Reaper. I think armor is part of 40k. You know, like...
Here's another interesting thing that will also relate to tanks then. Do you see on that data sheet anywhere the keyword core?
I never thought of that. I don't know if core's staying. They didn't mention that specifically,
it's not there.
Did they?
It's not there on what is blatantly a Tyranid's base troops unit. There is no core.
Yeah.
So you think they're cutting down on the rerolls? Or?
Probably. I
suspect core's going. I suspect it's gone out the window.
It didn't ever quite work, did it?
In the same way, objective secured going out the window is something slightly different. It's been replaced by a new stat on that data sheet, which I don't know if you guys have noticed or seen or read up on at all.
I couldn't figure that out. OC.
OC stands for objective control. And what that means is every model in that unit counts as 2 models for the purpose of controlling an objective.
And I love this because I've already been complaining about knights being dumb. In the current iteration of like counts as 10 models or counts as 5 models. So this way, I imagine if they want to say Space Marine troops are really good at holding objectives, they can just say they're OC5 now, and it also means you can give some objective control to like Sangre Guard or elites, you know. And it's less of a boolean. So I'm feeling
none. I also think OC will be linked into how morale works. I suspect. Because something else GW said in the stream is that the psychic phase is going completely and the morale phase is going completely. We'll come back to psychic in a bit, but the morale phase is going and it'll be compartmentalized into the command phase instead. And what happens is it won't be linked to models dying or running away. If you fail morale check, you won't lose more models. What will happen is that models that remain in the squad have their ability to interact with the game diminished or reduced in some way. And I suspect that'll be linked to the OC value. and probably ability to do actions or claim objectives or something.
Possibly. Highland is saying about Twin Link rule, and the way that it's saying there, assault Twin Link, so that to me
looks like
says universal special rule. Back.
Yep.
Which isn't
Totally
necessarily a bad thing. James is saying balance is boring. I'm with you, James.
USRs will help fix things like the fight fast, fight first, fight last problems, all the ways that are feel no pain but not feel no pain that do the same thing, named a different ability across 20 different codices, all this sort of crap.
It sounds like the other thing that they never touched on was invulnerable saves. The game would probably be better if invulnerable saves were gone, in my opinion. It doesn't look like there's space in this sheet for an invulnerable save, just saying.
Well, there wouldn't be on a Termagant, though, would there?
No, but
he's saying there's no space in the box. There's no box.
An invulnerable save has always been listed under the abilities.
That's true, yeah. Okay, so some of them might get
modern versions of the game, yeah.
But regardless, I think if they've normalized armor, or sorry, they've normalized AP, they're making armor much more relevant because it can be really high toughness, and they've bring in this OC thing, and then I guess the last part of that is that they've tailored each weapon to specific hits or attacks so that they can balance
it with every single other army and every single other weapon in the game, bearing in mind the power levels that they think should be consistent across the whole game. I think that's a fucking brilliant thing.
For me, honestly, I know some of you guys aren't so big on balance, but for someone who plays competitive and has been frustrated for about 3 years with the state of the competitive meta, then it sounds like a wet dream for me. Like, it sounds like
I'm big on competitive. I'm just
it's ever
not nowhere near as good or dedicated to it as you are. I just try and keep aware of it as much as I can.
So I've got my fingers crossed. I think it sounds great.
Another thing they've said.
Hopping back into the chat, sorry, for a couple of these before we get too far behind. Robert White is saying that he's heard that attaching characters to units is coming back. That'd be pretty cool.
I've heard people mention that, but I've heard nothing in source or on the stream to back that up. So I'm guessing that's come from leaks or playtesters or interviews or something. I've not seen any hard evidence to back that up anyway yet. Not saying it's not a thing.
James Richards, someone needs to do the Drake meme with GW rejecting a jump pack Sanguinary Priest and instead giving us Gravis Apothecary. I did see them there. That's on my list of things I spotted in the trailer. Mike, if profiling's still a thing on 10 plus wounds, he wonders if the OC will drop when you profile. It could very well do.
I mean, it could.
Yeah, Stephen says we're legends. Cheers, Stephen. And because he collects BA and Tyranids, he's a very happy man.
I'll be looking for someone to buy my Tyranids when I buy at least one copy of the box set that comes out inevitably, at least.
I've got a Codex Tyranids if you want it.
Right, hold on. While we're talking about this box set for 2 seconds then.
All right.
So what I saw in the trailer then was what I think is Phobos guys with combi meltas.
Yep. So the whole theme of the video to begin with is veterans. Veterans trying to strike and attack the synapse creatures of Hive Fleet Leviathan, attacking the western side of the galaxy where they've never been before. That every marine in there is intended to be or thought of as some kind of veteran one way or the other.
Mike suggesting we do a watch along with the video.
I mean, we can.
Not right now, I don't think. Maybe
we do in a bit.
Well, it's 5 minutes long. I suppose we could.
Yeah, we could, and then we can.
Maybe when we run out of things to talk about, if we're behind time or something.
So I did write a list of things that I spotted in the videos. If we started talking about it,
yeah, go for it.
I sat down.
Unless John wants to do it, because
I can play the video in the background. I think. Maybe.
Will the noise overshadow us?
I can just mute it, right?
Yeah, go nuts.
It's up to you.
Put it on
Do
music.
it. Whatever.
That's
one of the video.
That's the video. Gromit.
You wanted this video?
No, there's trailer. Not
this one, huh?
That's the talk along one. The other one you put on. We don't care about that shit.
They're telling us how it all went. You probably don't want to make it too much bigger, because then it'll. Yeah, that's the video.
Right. There you go. Then. Okay. The video will play.
Right. Yeah. So we start off with Gilliman.
And he's doing whatever he's doing. He's standing in front of the. Everyone's saying that was Sanguinius' door, but apparently that's the door to the Emperor's chamber.
It looks a lot like Sanguinius' door, but GW have gone on record and say that it is the door to the Emperor's golden throne.
I remember the door to the Emperor's golden throne being fucking gold.
There's probably 20 of them. I don't know.
You know, big golden doors.
What's the silver door, which apparently means something, but I don't know it because I haven't read that book yet, I guess. There we go. Anyway.
I think the animators just made it and then they were like, oh, it's supposed to be gold, and I'm fucking changing it now. A lot of work to do that. So we've got some Tyranids doing some Tyranid things here. Yeah. A bit swarmy. That dude's getting stabbed.
Yeah.
Hold on. What is that guy? Is he he's a Phobos
He
Marine?
looks like a Phobos lieutenant to me because later on we see him with two knives.
He could be just like a Phobos veteran of some kind, or he could actually be a Reaver that's not shit.
I mean,
he hasn't got a Reaver mask on. He's got the half face that the
yeah, that's so like in
probably not
a Cursor, isn't it? Yeah,
I might have been going a bit too far. Yeah.
I reckon that's an Incursor lieutenant model, or maybe a new Incursor lieutenant, because he's got two knives.
Okay.
Then we got some Tyranids, Termagants pretending to be raptors from Jurassic Park. That is the scene from Jurassic Park. You know, all the raptors are running towards them with the guns. Yeah. We just missed the man with the combi flamer.
Yeah, but so
this is in the background. You've got
definitely a combi flamer. There's definitely a combi melter in there that fires later. That's really clear and easy to see.
I mean that is the combi melter. And so that's what I was going to ask. Is this? Did you guys think this was a Primaris? Like I was saying to Brett today, I think it's like a Sternguard squad, but Primaris with combi weapons.
That figures. The logic of that makes sense to me if they're Primaris Sternguard.
Yeah, Mike's saying, look at the right pad, possibly Tyrannic veterans or like a new equivalent Tyrannic veterans.
Maybe pushing out on a limb here, maybe they change it so Sternguard can be Firstborn or Primaris.
Maybe. Well, that's what they've done with the Terminators.
A big deal of getting rid of it. Because, I'm jumping the gun. There we go. It's Combi Flamer dude and Combi Melter dude there.
And puts on this guy's shoulder pad.
Looks like some sort of Scully thing. But I'm making a big deal out of this, but later on we'll see that there is a Terminator librarian again.
Yep, that's right. And that's obviously a Screamer killer, specifically with the 4 giant claws that screams bioplasma at someone as he rips them apart.
Which actually just looked wicked, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I love Screamer killers. I've got a metal one here that needs doing. Random Blood Angels flag outside the Emperor's front door.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that's doing there. Then we've got this Gravis Apothecary, which looks pretty cool.
Yeah, who's getting ripped to bits by a Niddy that he didn't know was there.
I like the way that when they try to rip him to bits, he's just like, no, I'll saw your whatever. This is the exciting bit.
With the little scalpel. Yeah.
We've got Dreadnought Man for
Redemptor Dread.
Happy there.
Yeah.
I was going to say, so this is a Redemptor Dreadnought with a classic.
It's not a Mortis Dread. I've seen someone say this. I'm convinced that Mortis pattern Dreadnoughts always had the same gun on each arm. Just because of the fact it's got a ranged weapon and range weapon doesn't make it Mortis.
The old name for the box Dread with the missile launcher is the Hellfire.
Okay.
The Mortis is the double same arm, like Mark says.
Yeah.
The Hellfire had the missile launcher and the single arm.
Either way, though, fire support Redemptor, fucking here all day for that. I'm well into that.
Twin link blast cannon, I guess.
Twin link blast cannon and missile launcher on the other side, and sort of like belly bolters or whatever you want to call them. Belly bolters, I like that.
That's belly bolters.
So I think it looks wicked, to be honest. I love my dreadnoughts.
Well, if they're scaling back the lethality of things, then it'll be interesting to see what they do to las cannons across the board.
I just think it'll be mad if there's 3 different patterns of Redemptors, so you could run
the shooty one, the melee one, or the one in the middle. Yeah.
And did you guys twig straight away that it was a teleport homer?
Yes.
Oh yes. Yeah. Immediately.
That teleport homer landing was the exact same.
That we just saw. We saw in that other bit because there's an underslung flamer. Here we go. And then there's another one that over the top. I think that's just a regular flamer. That's a melter. But there's two.
There was that Black Templar model a little while ago.
Yeah, I think that's the what's it called? The Black Templar's new flamer thing they've got.
Yeah.
I think it looks like we're all getting them.
That would make sense. It'd be shocking if only Black Templar's got it, to be honest. So you got this Terminator appearing with an assault cannon, and here's something that gets me a little bit slightly because they've made the assault cannon the poster boy of the Terminators, and it's always been the coolest gun the Terminators have, and it's bullshit in rules terms in current game.
It's rubbish. Yeah,
it's a fucking shit gun. Which means if they're making it the poster child of Terminators, maybe assault cannons won't be shit anymore.
Be cool,
let's just get rid of the onslaught Gatling bollocks and have a.
I mean, he did get just ripped apart by a Tyranid like 5 seconds after he deployed his gun. So I mean, there's that.
Highland says it was good in second edition unless you rolled 3 jams. Yeah, I always roll 3 jams. Everything that rapid fire.
Sorry. That fucking psychic Nid beast looks badass, I've got to say, with its weird sort of like bone crown thing going over the back and 2 little mates behind it.
I can't figure out if that's something new or if that's like a Malanthrope or something.
Or a Zoanthrope Prime or some weird thing going on, I don't know.
Well, you got like the Neurothrope as well, haven't you?
Yeah.
So I can't tell if it's one of those old monsters with a new kit or if it's a new monster. I was trying to figure that out.
Given the 2 little baby floaty things next to it, I think it's possibly a new variant, but what do I know?
There's not a lot of space in the Nid book for more psychic bugs. You've got loads of them.
It's true. The only thing,
baby ones all the way up to mega great big ones.
The only thing the Nid Codex is really missing, as far as I'm concerned, as a totally non-Nid player and someone who hates facing them, is a super heavy, plastic super heavy. They've got some Forge World super heavies, but a plastic one like a Baneblade or a Knight or something is what they're missing.
I'd love to see the big Biotitan in plastic. That'd be amazing.
So, I mean, from the Space Marines point of view, I think what you're going to see in the box is a squad of like Stern Guard that you've got in this hill, a squad of Terminators. You're going to see that new.
There's a Terminator Captain. There's a Terminator Librarian. There's
Terminator Librarian.
Apothecary.
Yeah.
There's the Dreadnought.
And then the Dreadnought, and that'll be your 1,000 points. Not quite, maybe 750 points. That'll be your $100 of Space Marines in the box, I imagine.
Yeah. I reckon so as well. The other things that I sort of spotted looking at that trailer that I'm not sure about. Obviously, we've got new Termagants as well. I'm pretty sure there's a Flamer that's on its own, and there's the fancy Flamer from Black Templars.
There's a Marine with a heavy bolter as well.
There's a Marine with a heavy bolter, and it didn't. I wasn't sure if that was a heavy. I couldn't tell if that was a heavy intercessor or if that was something else because the heavy bolter didn't look quite the same as.
Stern Guard squads can carry 1 or 2 heavy weapons, so it would make sense if that's a Stern Guard squad if they just have a heavy bolter in the squad.
That's a new heavy bolter. Then you've got, I think I saw a Melter that didn't have an underslung or overslung bolter, but I'm not totally sure on that one. And then, of course, we've got all the Terminators. So there's quite a lot in there to sort of pull out. But do you know what I didn't see?
Go on.
Jump packs.
Yep.
How disappointing. Yes.
Not been seen in the slightest. You're absolutely right.
The only jump pack that I've seen and all the stuff that I've looked through so far, and maybe I'm wrong,
is that one Votan.
Is the one Votan, and then I keep seeing bloody Inceptors.
And that one Votan who's in a kill team set on a Space Hulk who can't use his fucking jump pack. Why has he got a jump pack in a kill team set in a Space Hulk?
Well, maybe he can get in and out of the doors. He flies around the outside and come in the other entrances. That'd be wicked, wouldn't it?
Commander Dante got a jump pack.
Maybe. All right. Yeah. New Dante's got a jump pack. And we've got to try and work out how I'm going to fit wings on that one. I have to wait and see what the new model's like. Cool.
So
it's a really pretty video.
Yeah, it's very cool trailer.
The tone of the video is really harsh as well. It's like Nids are going to eat the galaxy, and there's nothing you fuckers can do about it. And we will lie to the whole Imperium, telling them that we're doing well when really everybody's dying.
It's much darker than the 9th edition one, isn't it? Which had that kind of note of hope going through it. This just doesn't.
There's no hope whatsoever in this video.
So hang on, I'm just catching up on the chat again then.
Yeah, go for it.
Mike wants to make assault cannons great again.
Oh god.
John, don't make Dante great again video. That didn't end well for anybody involved.
Let's not go then.
Zach Force, what's really silly is how the assault cannon and the Punisher cannon on the Sikaran are basically the same, even though one's 5 times the size. Yeah,
there's so many silly things. Okay, cool. This reminded me. Punisher cannon on Sikaran. Unless you want to say something else before I.
I'll just carry on. Let me carry on down the list.
Yeah. Okay.
Highland reckons that new Dante should come with a couple of sanguinary bodyguards like the Celestine model. That'd be pretty wicked, wouldn't it? I don't think it will, but it would be pretty wicked. Atlas doesn't like the idea of wings on Dante.
That's fair enough. You're entitled to your opinion. You're wrong,
Wizard
but that's fine.
It's an Executor bolt rifle with an underslung flamer. That's an interesting one.
Cool. I mean, intercessor bolt rifles can come with underslung grenade launchers already.
So they can indeed, yeah.
Highland wants us to challenge Henry Cavill to a 10th edition game.
What kind of moron would do that? I mean, he's never going to answer you. I mean,
and
time, right?
Dirty Wizard reckons it's a Hellstorm bolt rifle with an underslung framer. So it could be any of those things. So sorry, Mark, you want to talk about Punisher?
So Punisher Cannon on Sakaran reminded me of something that I'd flagged on my little list of stuff to talk about. So going back to indices means they're obviously rebalancing everything, and they're providing rules for all the data sheets for everybody for free on day one across the entire range, including all the Forge World models, which is cool. They've also said you're going to be starting with next to no CP whatsoever, because all the options you've got for customizing your army are basically going to be gone. There's next to no stratagems to be using throughout the game. You'll probably be still getting them through the turn and whatnot, but starting with CP is all but eliminated, which says to me, is Martial Legacy still going to be a thing?
I think it's unlikely.
I don't think it is. And if it's gone, then all the Forge World stuff suddenly becomes massively more interesting to play.
Or, alternatively, all the Forge World stuff suddenly becomes Legends.
That's possible.
Nah, they won't do that. Not when they're selling all those new plastic kits. No way, man.
The new plastic. I'm not talking about the new plastic kits, because the new plastic kits aren't Forge World.
On the stream, they did explicitly say they'd be doing data sheets for all the Forge World stuff and supporting it through the indices and indexes. So that would imply that they're not going to Legends everything.
When we went from 8th to 9th, we lost a lot of stuff. And I suspect when we go from 9th to 10th, we're going to lose a lot of Forge World stuff, because they do seem to be making a point of kind of killing off a lot of the weird Forge World.
They're also making all Horus Heresy stuff in plastic now, readily available, so much more commonly available. It would make perfect sense for them, everything that's in the Horus Heresy range, to be available.
Yeah, and that's what I expect
they're just throwing money away.
Yeah, everything that's in the Horus Heresy range, I reckon, will be on here. And then all the weird resin, especially the old hand-designed, hand-cast resin kits, they're the ones that are going to go.
Likely. That would make sense. Until they sell out of them and don't.
Because Forge World really seems to be leaning much more into specialist games, so I feel like they're just trying to shove that off a little bit, get rid of that. Bring the 40k, 30k stuff under the Games Workshop umbrella and let it play with Necromunda and that. Because already we've seen a lot of those weirder models disappearing. The last week or so, the Medusa went, finally, that's gone. No Medusas for you.
Obviously, we've got all of the new resin Contemptor torsos to go alongside the plastic Contemptors, which is cool.
So they did say a while ago they were going to make the unique stuff, customization stuff is still Forge World, but the core units are going to be seem to be moving to plastic. And it wouldn't surprise me if we started to see anything that wasn't coming out in plastic as gone.
You think that they will make kits for all the faction Terminators in this new size?
No.
I think they will do an upgrade sprue for the various chapters. That makes a lot more sense to me, like they do with the shoulder pads and the dangly bits for Primaris and Firstborn. Just do that for Terminators instead, rather than do a different faction Terminator kit. Makes a lot more sense.
So I suspect we'll lose our fancy Blood Angels Assault Terminators, and they won't be coming back. But they will do, like Mark says, a Terminator, Blood Angels Terminator upgrade sprue.
Yeah, which would figure alongside the inevitable redone Assault Terminators variant, which is going to have to come along sooner rather than later, I expect.
It might even be the same box as this, to be honest. We just haven't seen it.
Yeah, probably not the starter set, but yeah.
I suspect these are starter set Terminators, and then the multi-part kit will have guns or stabby things.
Thanks everybody for joining us. It's been a while since we've been live. There's almost 50 of you on here watching us and listening to us, which is great. If you want to ask any questions in chat, do so. We will try to answer what we can. If you want to make sure it gets noticed, then feel free to super chat us. That will flash up a big thing, and we'll absolutely pay attention to that because you don't have a lot of choice. We're here talking about 10th edition and all the reveals and shit. Yeah. What do you guys think about the psychic phase change?
I think it's good because Psychic Phase is all over the fucking shop at the moment, in that you've got some Psychers that can do 15 mortal wounds in a single power, and you've got the Blood Angels one who does 1 mortal wound if you're lucky.
Yeah, but
so
that's not
they can.
The phase is going away.
Well, they have to bake it into the cards, so it'll be a physical thing where they're baking them into all the different cards, and surely when they're doing that,
the power will happen as a command phase ability, like Captain's abilities already are, or a shooting attack, or whatever. We've already got one, actually. Because Mephiston's sword hitting at strength 10 is one of Mephiston's own psychic powers that they baked into his data sheet in 9th edition.
But
so we're actually ahead of the game in that.
We are good because we're going to lose all the customization. I think that's what's going to tone it. Rather than losing the psychic phase, I don't think that's really here or there. But losing the customization means you're not going to be able to stack things together to make mortal wound bombs for Grey Knights or whatever.
So the change is that psychic phase is now gone, and every psychic power that would have had that every character or unit would have had previously will now be baked onto the character sheet, onto the data sheet, one way or the other. Whether it's a buff or a debuff or an attack or anything like that, it'll be on the data sheet.
Which means it'll be better balanced. I think it'll be better balanced. 100%.
Oh, it'll be better balanced, absolutely.
The way it works on Age of Sigmar, in particular in Lumineth, is each character has their own special magic spell that they can do, which is unique to them and is on their data sheet. And they get a choice of like 1 or 2 powers from the faction list of powers that is in their codex. So it's entirely possible they'll go down a similar route where we've got like a choice of 3 powers that can be cast during the command phase and like specific personal powers baked into the data sheet.
So what do you think of the new Terminators then? Compared to the previous kit? Like,
I mean, you can't argue the fact that they're gorgeous.
I mean, I love the previous kit so much that I've just bought 2 more boxes of them.
When did you buy those?
About a month ago.
Oh, dude.
Oh,
well.
I'm not sad. I love them. I love those
they're great.
I think they're beautiful. And I think the new ones are beautiful.
You have some great games and boarding actions with them.
Yeah, that's what I bought them for.
So what I'm thinking is you might want to use the old ones literally as firstborn Terminators and use the new ones as Primaris Terminators and just mix and match them in your squads.
Yeah. Because looking at this picture here, they are different, but they're not so different that I think it makes... They're just, actually, to be honest, just a bit better scaled. So I think that they might look cool with a bit of a mixture of them.
I mean, I still run some of the metal ones, which are arguably the same difference between the...
So I think they look
the biggest difference in detail I could see on the new Terminators was on the little piping round the legs with the what held them up, the detail in there that made them look like little pistons and whatnot. That all looked really, really incredible. They do appear to be on the same base size, Aradine, as far as we can see, just by looking at that screenshot John's got up there, to be honest.
Yeah, I think they're on the same base size. The helmet has a tiny little difference, but not much.
It's in terms of bulked out the helmet, isn't it? But it looks amazing. I love it.
In terms of game philosophy, something DTM's brought up here is about the new 1-in, 1-out design philosophy. So we as Blood Angel players will no longer be using rules for Space Marines. We'll be using rules for Blood Angels. So each army will be designed to have 2 pages of rules, and they will be taken away and replaced by your sub-faction 2 pages of rules when you get them. So I'm really quite happy with that. It means we'll never be using more than 2 pages worth of army rules at any given time. Brilliant.
Then it also means we won't be shoehorned into trying to take generic Space Marine stratagems or objectives that actually don't really help us.
Yeah,
well, it's less shoehorned. I don't know if we will have a choice. I think we'll get.
I imagine there'll be a stratagem or 2 common between all Space Marine chapters, one way or the other. But that's a kind of a detail that will get fleshed out as we see how things are going to
go. Marcus says that Valrak's claiming to be making a video next week on unique Dark Angel Terminators. Valrak makes videos on every fucking thing.
Yeah. Plus, the Lion's coming out and they're doing new Terminator models. I mean, yeah.
It's almost
kind of a no-brainer. If they didn't, they'd be losing out.
Yeah. I'd be super surprised if they... But you know what? It could still be an upgrade kit.
There's a thought. New redone Terminators. Grey Knights.
I hope that the Grey Knights get some nice new redone Terminator kits, or they're going to look really weird. But I bet they don't. I bet they just have tiny Terminators, all the Space Marine Terminators.
They might just get the existing Terminators with different heads and different shoulder pads and weapons and things, maybe. Like a Grey Knight upgrade sprue to the Terminator kit.
To make them into like Paladins and stuff, because they're quite different.
I don't know. It's just a thought.
It's quite a lot of parts, isn't it?
And they're covered in little iconography and decorations and things. Yeah, maybe not.
I don't know. It could be, but it's going to look ridiculous if not. The poor little Grey Knight Terminators going to be sitting there, and these guys are going to be leaning on them. You know, holding them at arm's length.
Here's another little interesting fact that somebody picked up on earlier. So Workshop said that 10th Ed is going to be out in summer, which is normally sort of June, July time in terms of their release windows for these sorts of new editions and whatnot.
Oh shit, that means I've won some money.
Does it?
I put a bet down that 10th edition was going to come out in 2023 with some other people it's going to get announced around Easter time, and it's going to I thought it was going to be Warhammer Fest. Then it's going to come out kind of June, July time, because they like to release box sets in time for the school summer holidays.
It might be a bit earlier than that. And the reason why I think that is, John, would you be okay to just quickly open up on Warhammer Community or Google the dates for this year's series of Games Workshop US Open tournaments? Because it'd be interesting to see what that date range is and how it coincides with the summer period, because I can't see them running an event or two in 9th Ed and then continuing the rest of the year on in 10th Ed. When's the first one?
Yeah, the first one's the 2nd of June.
That's too early. They're not going to release it in May.
So if the first one's 2nd of June and they want to have that playable as 10th Ed, they've got to release 10th Ed, what, a month earlier than that?
At least a month. That's April, May, really, to get that out, to give them time to do that. And I just can't see it coming out that quick.
You might be right.
Because if they don't release it early enough, then the event... It would be the same thing that happened in January when they released the chapter approved like a week before LVO.
But equally so, it'd be a really bad idea for them to run an open series with events across the year that culminate in a final where they switch edition after one or two events already. That's going to be a shit show.
Yeah, that would be a problem. I could agree with that. Unless they give everybody free rules and that you don't... Maybe that's what it is. Everybody will get like the free rules a month before that event. So you can actually
pay attention. The
box set won't come out for a month after.
Because if the free rules are digital, just to play with everything you've got already. Yeah, I could see that happening.
I'm sure that... I'm trying to think back on the day of launch of 9th edition, you were pretty much... Like, if you already had an army, you could just play. You know, you didn't need anything out of the 9th edition box except the points, costs, and the rules. So if you were ready to make a... And arguably, I mean, like... If you think about it, 9th edition was a paperback edition, so arguably those books were printed a month before and put in the box 2 weeks before that and then shipped around the world. So arguably the 9th edition points were done 2 months before the edition before you actually could buy the box. They just need to make the box attractive. But I think if the box has a new Terminator Librarian, a new Terminator kit, the Stern Guard,
Primaris, new Tyranid models as well, that loads of people are going to want, because Tyranids haven't had models for ages either.
The box will sell regardless. Every Space Marine box sells.
Oh yeah, I'll buy that. I haven't even seen it yet, but I know I'll buy the 10th edition starter box.
Absolutely. Foz has asked in chat, when does the current season end? If we were going by time frames for chapter approved, the last one was released middle of Jan, so the next one should be released, if they were continuing with that, in mid-July.
Which does line up with the Tacoma Open.
So obviously there's not going to be another chapter approved because they're going to release 10th Ed. There won't be another 9th Ed season as we know it, which makes perfect sense.
So just looking at the other bits.
Dirty Wizard, they have specifically mentioned that codexes are going away. All the codexes that exist right now will be made irrelevant. Core rules will be digital and free. The indexes with rules for every single unit and every single army will be digital and free, and purchasable as paper copies if you want paper copies. And you can buy the data sheets as cards if you want as well.
Yeah, so all 15 of my codexes are going away.
But you are getting new stuff for them all for free on day one of the new edition. I know it's shit because you've got a whole load of books with some cool stuff in it going away. But it's for the good of the game that everything's being rebalanced. So it sucks. But I think good bits.
Because I think this is going to be the big crux of it, isn't it? Yeah. I think it's going to. This is a game that's looking at it from the outside. This is an edition that's going to make John happy, because it's about this. Do you remember months ago we talked about balancing, and I said the only way they can balance is if they StarCraft it.
Yeah.
And that's what they've done. They've StarCrafted it. They've pulled any variable out of it. They've stripped it right out and made it very, very.
I don't know. I think that's a bit
simplified. Not in the tactics, but in the
variables
in the
that
variables
you can have for each army. Maybe. We've yet to see how that'll be implemented properly, but there's definitely going to be some element of that, yes.
And that's not quite what I. But then what I want is never going to happen because I'm old school.
How many of the strats don't we use? How many of the warlord traits do we never use? How many of the relics do we never use?
But
I think
that's different, isn't it?
You make a lot of good points, Tony. But here's the kicker, right? If you were a World Eaters player or an Astra Militarum player, did you not just get shat on here?
Yeah, that's why one of those 15 books is that Astra Militarum book that's sitting there.
Yeah.
So, have you played a game with Astra Militarum book yet?
No.
Okay, so you've got 2 months to play, but you won't get to play because of,
because I've got a screaming child.
Well, we're allowed to say that now. Okay, so you've got a screaming child. Sorry about last time. So you've got a screaming child, so you won't get to play at all.
Out of milk.
You just need to. Milk is a bad choice.
That's more of a problem.
No.
I think that they had to get like I've actually been saying for a little while now that I've said it in a few of my live streams, I would have been happy to pay $5 a month for the 3 years that I've been playing, which would work out probably $200, which is a lot more than I've spent on codexes if it meant digital rules that got updated more frequently. So it sounds like
it's going to be a new app, and it's going to work.
And it's going to work. It sounds like we're going to get that for free. And if I want to spend a bit of money to get hard copies, which I probably will, I'll buy the hard copies. And also, it does sound like we're not going to have this issue. The biggest issue I have with competitive 40k right now is if you play a codex that came out today versus a codex that came out 3 years ago, you're in a shit situation. And if you only play one or two armies,
John, this is undoubtedly balanced, much more balanced. And the argument isn't about whether it's more balanced. This is a much better competitive game if they've gone this route. And that's hands down, without a doubt.
And is that not what they said at the start of the trailer? They were like, Warhammer 40,000 is the world's most competitive tabletop game or some pish.
Something like that. Which, frankly, it is. It's head and tails away from any of its nearest competitors.
So they're just trying to push that rhetoric more,
They're just going down that competitive route. They've gone, right, well, looking at all the different types of play, we've got, currently we've got narrative and we've got all these other different open, and they've gone, right, most people, a lot of people play competitive. That's the one where the money is. These are the people that are buying all the stuff. That's where we're leaning. That's where we're going. Now, I'm just sad because if I wanted to play a perfectly balanced competitive game, I'd be playing Warhammer Underworld because the new box set looks great. Those Zinch guys look fantastic.
Or Kill Team.
But I don't want to play it super balanced. I like narrative play. I like, do you remember we were talking about the Tempest?
You still
the
do
crazy
that,
stuff?
though?
You can, but the idea is that because they're condensing all the rules into 2 pages worth, and that covers stratagems, army rules, relics, warlord traits, psychic, all of that is going to be condensed into 2 pages. A lot of it is going to have to get stripped out.
Your Blood Angels commander model, your Blight Captain,
all the customization you do for him to make him a tanky bastard.
He's gone. You can play him on the shelf.
We've got a new Dante, right? I mean, that's the way it's going, though, is they want you to be running. I think they've kind of swung back. They've swung back a bit where, they want you to be running your iconic characters with it. Because, if you look at, Karn and Angron and that in the new releases, and then even Lord Solar in the IG Codex, these characters are, they're pretty auto takes. They're just so frigging good. Yeah, why would you not want to run them? So
you might not want to run them at the moment because you're playing a narrative game. Or you're playing a really cool, you've made this custom board, you've got a custom mission where you're playing a big last stand that you've written and you've got your custom character that you've played. And the problem with that is you can't balance it.
No,
so if you want to do that kind of thing, you'll be able to do it in what the new Crusade is. And I'm cool with that.
We don't know that.
They've already said they're going to be keeping Crusade.
What they've said is there's going to be some way of Crusade carrying on.
No, they've said they will be continuing Crusade.
But they haven't said what kind of detail that's going to be.
They haven't said detail on anything, to be fair. But yeah, actually, that's a lie. They've said a fair bit of detail.
They've said a fair bit of detail, but they've not said, but if you play Crusade, you can still build whatever character you like with whatever weapons they've got. And I just can't see them saying, right, we're going to make all these data sheets for units, but they're only allowed to be using Crusade. I just can't see that happening.
No, I think
I can see there being a fair bit of content in the codexes that will elaborate on all that kind of weird customization stuff.
I mean, they could go.
That.
We're going to do 2 separate, because we're not making books anymore. And we're not selling books, and they make a lot of fucking money off the books.
They will be doing books. Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, they are. But I wonder if I'm hoping, to be honest, that they put all the narrative play in the Crusade stuff, and that's what your books are for. And they can bring all that complexity back and just shove it in the book and say, right, if you're not interested in Crusade and narrative and stuff, you don't need to care about this. You just need these cards. That's your competitive 40k. And then you can keep that balanced and then let the other bit go on balance because it doesn't matter so much.
Yeah, maybe.
I genuinely hope, because like I say, I will be really sad if I can't make Jeff with his giant hammer and his whatever it is. And it doesn't matter if he's not the optimal. Yeah, someone earlier on said, "Oh, we only use half a page of rules." No, we had half a page of rules that were really good units, but the last Blood Angels list I had 2 Sicarans in it and 5 Dreadnoughts.
And you used
no
2 or 3 of the stratagems out of the 2 or 3 pages of stratagems that we have.
Yeah, well, not if you're running a stupid list because it's fun in narrative. And then you're making a point of using the less used stuff.
I mean, I guess, yeah.
Maybe.
It's a good point. This is the juxtaposition is between the hardcore competitive players and the more casual, love the story, love the, I've got the original Rogue Trader book up there and I fucking love it and all that role playing stuff. And I think that's where we saw that with Primaris came in. They removed, I know we've still got tactical squads, but they've been really leaning heavily onto the loot, getting rid of customization.
I see what you're saying. It is a shame that a lot of flavor that doesn't get used in competitive often is almost certainly going to get lost in order to make room for all of this streamlining that they're doing.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, I can't help but feel that the streamline that they're doing to make the game more straightforward to play. I can't speak for you. I can't speak for any of you, but it's a price I'm willing to pay.
I don't like 5-hour games of Warhammer.
No, I think genuinely they've made that decision because they're leaning into, because more people are like you guys who are much more competitively minded. They've gone, right, we're going to make 40k this one, but we're putting all this money into Horus Heresy at the moment, and they're going to say, well, if you want that, fuck off and play Heresy.
Oh, yeah, because obviously they showed off as part of the big stream. The Horus Heresy book was a massive campaign book full of fluff and customization and cool shit and so forth. So, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, so
they've been pushing that for a little while now. I feel
they have, and they're going to continue down that road. 40k is a competitive game. Heresy's the
fluffy, detailed, customize out the wazoo kind of. Yeah, okay.
But at least then, if that's something that you're interested in, Tony, then at least you can pursue it, right?
Not if you don't play fucking Space Marines, you can't.
Well, you could become a heretic, I guess.
What, you're orcs? If you play Xenos, you're fucked.
I mean, I think it's just that's the way that they'd be.
System of the battle.
You're going to have to hope that they have reason. Like they said, they were going to keep supporting Crusade. I guess they'll put out some.
Says here, catching fucking jungle fighters.
Yeah, they'll put out some form of Tempest of War, I guess. But they won't be supporting it in the same way they support the competitive game going forward. That's the rhetoric that came across.
And yeah, I think you're right. I genuinely do. And I think this is all tied in with, because in the States, competitive is far bigger than narrative from the numbers, it seems.
We're also said to be getting updates on the new 10th edition daily hereafter. And then we've also got Warhammer Fest coming in just over a month from now. So
Robert White says the Resident Evil 4 keys have just come in. I need to get mine downloaded as well. Fuck, I'm excited. I'm more excited for Resident Evil 4 tomorrow than I am for 10th edition 40k.
It's got amazing reviews, that. Metacritic's like 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 all over the place on every single review for Resident Evil 4 Remake.
I fucking love Resident Evil. Like,
really?
So much, yeah.
So
much.
Talk to me after the stream. I might not be able to do something for you, but I might be able to do something for you.
I own every game that they've ever made in the series, even the really expensive Game Boy games. The failed Gamecom, which was the worst console ever made, had a Resident Evil 2 port, which I own. The only version I do not own, because it's now silly money, is there's two things that I haven't got. I haven't got the chainsaw, and I haven't got Resident Evil 2 on the N64 because I can't bring myself to spend like 200 quid on it.
I played the first one when it first came out on PS1 and bounced off it because of the control system and the way the character was facing and the way you press this to turn that way, and where I was pushing on the D-pad didn't relate to where the character was moving, and it just bounced hard off it with me, so I never played it since.
When you're like 10 years old or whatever it was when that came out, then I just adapted.
Yeah.
Now I go back to it and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? But then I was just like, this is great, this is fine. Terrible controls.
Cool. Anyway, that's kind of gone slightly off topic.
Back to the things. Anyone? Mike says, anyone here going to WHF? What's WHF?
Warhammer Fest in Manchester.
No, my wife wouldn't let me. She said, "You are not abandoning me with a baby."
So it's on May Day weekend. These guys have got kids and live miles away, and I'm not willing to spend the stupid amount of money I would have to get a hotel in Manchester on May Bank Holiday weekend.
Genuinely, if I didn't have the kid, I was going to buy a golden ticket.
Wow.
And I know someone I think might have bought a golden ticket.
I do know someone who has bought a golden ticket
because it actually seemed quite good value.
If you're a massive fan and you're loving it all, then yeah, sure, you got the money to spend for it.
A wicked weekend.
Every Warhammer Fest or Games Day I've been to before, I've wandered around for a couple of hours. I've thought, that's pretty. I've looked at the Golden Demon stuff, and then I've gone, I'm going to go to the shop and buy all the things I could buy at any other Games Workshop.
My favourite ones were always. Do you remember the Horus Heresy weekenders and the Forge World weekenders they used to run?
There's a lot of rumours going around that Warhammer Fest might feature some stuff for Warhammer Old World.
Oh, I'm excited about that.
I was at Warhammer Fest a few years back, and I'm sort of with you, Mark. If you're not playing in the tournaments, right? Because they do tournaments, and if you're not playing in the tournaments,
demo games, and
I'm still here. I'm just moving another bit.
Yeah, no worries.
Once you've looked at all the models and you've done the stuff, I'm. Anyone that knows me in real life will tell you that I'm really tight, right? Like if I can get a good deal, I will get a good deal. People make fun of me how tight I am. You know, like
you don't get good deals at Warhammer Fest. They sell everything for full retail price.
Well, exactly. When I open my wallet, people make that sound. What is it like? You know, the puff of air or the smoke. Like, holy shit, John's buying. Yeah, silence. So like. At Warhammer Fest, everything's there, like you said, at Games Workshop on full price, and I know I can get 20% off if I just go to
buying event exclusive stuff. That's the thing that might be worth it.
But it's just like one model, isn't it?
Yeah. The thing that I like about them, especially again, I used to like my favorite was the Forge World Weekender and stuff, was this sort of stuff. So I bought this many years ago. I think it was the Forge World Weekender, and this is back for old fantasy, and this was a book of Forge World monsters. And I remember going and meeting all the designers, and I was getting places with Mark Bedford signed that one. That's the Colossal Squig.
Oh, very cool.
And I got the artists and the people who designed the miniatures and stuff like that to go and sign my books. And it was just fantastic to meet those like phenomenal painters that I've seen so many pictures of and seen in the magazines, and go and speak to the games designers. And like even when Mark and I went last year and we got to speak to people making hired gun.
It was cool.
And things like that. That's what I go for.
Dirty Wizard. Dirty Wizard, what do you think this is? This is not the Blood Angels Commander channel. We're not going to pimp some rival YouTube channel here and help people out who want to do this rival channel. I mean,
what fucking rival channel?
I mean, is there any point?
Blood Angels Commander channel that some person does? I don't know what it is. They want to
do this review shit. Other people's shit. I've heard it's shit, to be honest.
Yeah.
I wouldn't watch it. I don't recommend that at all. Apparently Highland's calling for me to be fired.
Why?
I think probably because I said I don't give a shit about 10th edition because it just looks completely not up my street, and I care more about Resident Evil 4.
See, I'm actually the most stoked about Warhammer today than I have been for probably the last 9 months.
I would be lying if I said I got up, I read it, I looked at it, I watched the trailer, thought the trailer was cool, and then my heart absolutely sank when I started to read through, because I was just like, this has taken all the bits that I like least about Warhammer and pushed them hardest, and taken the bits that I like the most and pulled them out. Because a few years ago, I was all into the competitive scene and I was traveling to tournaments, things like that. I haven't played a proper tournament since before Armour of Contempt, but I've had the most fun playing Warhammer I've had since I was a teenager.
But can you not? You know how frustrated. Like I already said to you guys in confidence, I don't think I've said this in front of anyone that was the Blood Angels channel. If I hadn't been, I said this to Kev as well. If I hadn't been doing the Blood Angels channel, about a year ago from now, I would have taken a break from Warhammer because I felt the state of the competitive play for Blood Angels was so crap. Like, every event I would go to, I would just run into armies that I had no chance of winning against. And when you line up on your board and you deploy everything and you go, and I can win this game if my dice are up here and his dice are down here. But if this guy is semi-competent and the dice are 50-50, I lose this game 100% of the time. Unless he does something really stupid, I lose this game. And when you go to a tournament...
Blood Angels for a tournament.
No.
Sure, but that's my only army. So,
for me, it's a slightly different point of view. If I wanted to play a 2,000-point game of 40k, I would want to factor in 4, maybe 5 hours, so I could take my time, have a bit of a laugh doing it, not be rushed. Trying to fit it into 3 hours was
probably have a bit.
Yeah, streamlining games down so they might run in like 3 hours or so. Yeah, great, fucking brilliant.
But I think that they needed to do something to address the like they needed to balance it, right? So like.
They needed to balance it. If they were going to continue to press, as they are, competitive Warhammer in the tournaments, they had to do it. You are absolutely right.
They already have like relics and Crusade that you don't get in competitive play, right? They already got like traits on characters that you can't get in competitive play.
I'm being roasted in chat by our two fellow mods here. I mean,
so can we not? Do you not think we can
get? No, I think they're going as well, and that's what's making me sad, John.
Do you not think they can keep some of that? So that it doesn't.
Yeah, I hope they do, but I just get the feeling they haven't. I think they've gone.
I think they will. They just haven't shown it off yet. I think at Adepticon, they want to do the reveals that will appeal to the competitive people turning up at Adepticon. I don't think that what you're saying will go completely. I suspect that all that will be included in Crusade rules in codices.
But that's
it's just some,
and hold on.
At this point, it might happen. It might not.
I think the Arcs of Omen are a perfect example of that, Tony, because like Arcs of Omen have no competitive rules in them, right? But that's like £150, 5 books, some boarding action rules, which I guess you could argue boarding action is competitive. But I want to play boarding actions not because it's competitive, because I said to you, because it's fun, and I would be frustrated with the competitive scene. So like, do you not think that they can still do a series of boarding action books? Yeah.
And if they do that, I'm hoping that they move. Because if they're going to get rid of it, instead of having our seasons of the competitive seasons, I'm hoping they put all of that into campaign books, and action books, and they bring back all that lovely interest and depth and complexity for those games.
Rob White in chat makes a good point. It's just been announced. We don't know any of this, or much of this for sure. Yeah, this is pure speculation for now. But you're right. All we've got is speculation. That's what we're here to do right now. So.
Yeah, scrolling up, the other important things here. James Gibbs says Cassians are just Solar Auxilia, who forgot their clothes.
I better tell Addermont that I have never lost a game of Tempest of War, and let's just leave it at that. I will never play it again, but I've never lost.
Did you not have fun?
No, I didn't. I didn't like it. Sorry.
We had a little chat in the Three Grots channel with his opponent as to why John didn't.
His opponent
like
had
it.
A lovely time,
and it was amusing to read.
Carter,
I just want to call out Carter in chat. Your idea, mate, obviously of them making Primaris and Firstborn one and the same is clearly borne fruit in what they're doing with Terminators. So props to you. Clearly, you have implemented that and made them do it. Good
man. James is saying he's still running a boarding action event in the club in June. There might still be
I'm so happy with boarding action. I'm so glad that it's still going to be usable, and the fact that it is going to be completely compatible and usable through 10th means I'm now going to buy a set of the terrain, because otherwise I wasn't going to previously. I'm really happy with it. It's great.
I'm just sort of scrolling along because I'm so out of date on this chat now.
No worries. I mean, it's not like people have been super chatting or anything, so that's fine.
They did also say that you're going to be able to bring your Crusade, if you've got a Crusade in progress, into 10th edition.
Yeah, and my understanding from that is they're going to be doing Crusade in 10th as well. That's where I've been getting what I've been saying to Tony. But
it's the bit that why I'm being so skeptical on that. It's not because they have definitely said that. I'm literally scrolling looking for where it says it, but it's
they didn't say it in the article. They said it on stream.
No, they said it in the article as well, because I didn't watch the stream and I knew about it.
Fair enough.
Okay. But the other point I was wanting to make about you not getting like you like your fluffy stuff, and they're removing some of that. I mean, I like my competitive stuff, but the last couple of events I went to, I just went with wacky lists that I knew were wacky, just to try and like have fun and do the best I could do with my list, because I think if I tried to play super competitive, it would just frustrate me. So can you not get some of the same enjoyment where it's like, if you want to run 2 Sicarians and 5 Dreadnoughts, you can still do that?
Not if they remove all the Sicarians and Dreadnoughts, I can't.
I
know that I'm being extreme there, but that's not the point.
That reminds me of something else.
Play an unbalanced game, and you might not win because it's unbalanced, but you can't play with things that don't exist.
That reminds me of another point I wanted to make with a comparison with Age of Sigmar, which may or may not come to fruition, but given some of the terminology they've said, I think it might do, which is almost certainly going to tickle some of John's taste buds when we get to it. They mentioned the word battle line in the article. Battle line is an Age of Sigmar term that basically compares to troops for 40k, which is fine. And what they say is that they have army composition rules. So some of your army has to be battle line. You can only take as many other units as you've got. Battle line this, battle line that. It's the version of troops. What they do in Age of Sigmar is they have something that is like detachments a bit, but they give you bonuses if you take things in certain groupings. So if you take this type of hero, then he allows you to take this type of unit that isn't battle line as battle line. That's the thing.
That'd be quite cool, because I mean, you can kind of run your Terminators as the core, because they have made a big deal out of the fact that you're going to be able to bring whatever you want, which I've enjoyed with Arcs of Omen. I think I love the Arcs of Omen.
It's what they did for Stormcasts to allow them to have the Dragon Riders. You can have an army of all Dragon Riders by taking a Dragon Rider commander, and he makes your other Dragon Riders battle line where they wouldn't normally be. So it is perfectly feasible, if they wanted to carry on down that comparison, that if you take Dante, a unit or two of Sangard could be battle line.
Yeah.
That is not impossible. That's quite
possible. So I found the bit where I was talking about here. So it says, there's one exception on note. The Arcs of Omen books and boarding patrols will persist, so you can keep purging those space hulks in the new edition and beyond. Likewise, for those Eternal Crusaders out there who have built up a mighty host through their narrative games and wish to bring their Crusade army with them into the new edition, there are rules to allow you to do this. Then it says underneath, as well as continuing support for Crusade and match play, the new edition will introduce a brand new way to play the game, combat patrol.
Okay, continued support for Crusade. That's kind of good.
Yeah, but it's like there are rules to let you bring this forward is not outrageously encouraging. Now, you watched the stream and I haven't.
Well, if it lets you bring your Crusade rules forward from 9th into 10th, then all the Crusade rules you've got in your 9th Ed Codex, they're pretty fucking huge and floppy and massively on the customization.
Potentially, but it depends on how much of it they let you bring through. They're just like, all right, well, you can just bring those. You've brought the models, haven't you? What are we talking about?
Any Dirty Wizard,
could be anything from like a slight bit of it to all of it. It's such a massive spectrum.
This is all speculation, so we'll find out more in time.
So they said your detachment is going to be 3. Your detachment just needs a warlord and then 3 of as many different types of units as you want. No. So the
detachment is a warlord, and then you can take up to 3 of any other type of unit.
Yeah.
And they said the word type, but it looks like that when they say type, that means another data sheet.
Well, yeah, they've got an asterisk next to that. And then if you follow the asterisk down the bottom, it says units with the battle line keyword can be taken up to 6 times. So that's why I think
rule of 3, rule of 6. Yeah, basically, which makes sense. So it's a completely free. It's like Arcs of Omen, but even more open in what you can take.
So you could still run 6 Terraxes if you wanted, probably. Because they're dedicated.
Because they're dedicated transports. Yes, but under current rules, you have to start someone in every single Terrax. So I don't see that changing.
Yeah, no, I think that would. I think they'll keep the dedicated transport rules. You have to have something that fits in the transport. But I mean, you could fit 6 Terraxes and 6 tactical squads, probably just inside your 2,000 point limit.
Absolutely. That's cool.
All right, so I'm excited. Mark, you're excited. Tony is ready to go play Horus Heresy forever.
I am genuinely very sorry that you're disheartened by this, Tony. I hope that it will come around, but I'm
really excited by the models. They look beautiful. And even the way of building armies and stuff, that's great. I love the idea of a themed army. I just feel that they might have dumbed it down in order to seek the competitive crowd more than will be my thing that I enjoy playing.
I get your fear. I don't think it's founded, but only time will bear that out one way or the
other. More important. So I'm just reading a couple of these different things in the chat here.
We've been going an hour and 20 minutes already.
Robert White, the new Warhammer site is up. That's cool. We'll have a look at that in a minute. What else
is it worth having a look at Warhammer site now while we're just on stream quickly?
I don't think there's any reason not to.
Warhammer40,000.com.
Dirty Wizard, like, you can only take Sanguinius Guard down to the Warlord, maybe, but I suspect you'll still be able to take them, but maybe they're limited to like 0 to 1 or something if you don't have him. Catapult, I imagine they'll bring all the Crusade through unless they wouldn't mention it, maybe.
Well, the data sheet seems to have nothing related to army composition on it at all. No unit numbers, no numbers of models, no points, no nothing. So that'll almost certainly be on the army rules or Munitorum or whatever else they do instead.
Then he says later on, more important, does this mean I'll be able to run all my Tau flyers? And I'm going to respond with that with maybe, unless they do what I also reckon might happen, which is ditch all the Forge World only models.
No, they said that
you won't run any of your Forge World flyers.
They said on the stream that they're going to include all the rules for Forge World. That's something they said in as many words.
Yes, it is something they said. We had this little bit earlier. Tony reckons that they're not going to actually do what they say and ditch all of the Forge World stuff. They're not going to continue.
I reckon they're going to ditch all the ones that don't have plastic models or won't have plastic models.
But you didn't say that.
Not ditch, but take them legends.
Yeah.
But the thing is, anything that doesn't have a plastic model within some point in the next 5 years will have a plastic model. So leave it on the shelf for 5 years and bring it back. You're doing everything. They're doing fucking falchions in plastic now.
Absolutely haven't. They haven't made the Orca in years. Or some of the weird guard vehicles. There's so many guard vehicles that have disappeared and just gone.
True. But they are making...
The Space Marine vehicles they're bringing forward.
The ones that sell a lot.
The ones that sell a lot.
Yeah.
But the weird, unique, interesting, especially Xenos stuff.
Yeah.
They've not so far brought any of that forward into plastic. They've just ditched it after a period of time.
I reckon that everything that is currently available for sale on the Forge World website will get a new data sheet.
Yeah, that's what it will be. And yeah, they might legend some stuff on Forge World. They do that all the time anyway. You can't stop that.
It's fine.
No, you can't. You can't. You absolutely can't.
As it becomes more mass market,
they
will stop doing so much of the custom stuff.
That's exactly what I think how it's going to play out.
There might even be a day in the far future where you can't buy a Thunderhawk anymore, Tony, and you will be a very special person.
I would be mind blown if the Thunderhawk was in this new set of rules.
It will be.
Well, that'll be in Horus Heresy.
No, I reckon it will be.
They haven't got a plastic kit.
Bet you a tenner.
Yeah, all right, I'll take that bet.
All right, witnessed. They do now.
Do you know what? I hope I lose this bet.
You do either way, don't you? I suppose you want to lose it one way or the other.
I win both ways. I either win a tenner or I get to play with my Thunderhawk still.
Oh, yeah, good man.
Yeah.
I've talked through all my talking points. So I haven't got anything else that pointed up.
I thought it was worth having a quick word about some of the other stuff that got revealed as well, which
okay.
We haven't really mentioned much.
40k Beastmen are kind of cool.
40k Beastmen's brilliant. That's a nod back. I was about to say it's a nod back to the old Rogue Trader because Beastmen used to be a thing that that were in the game. But in Rogue Trader and even Second Edition, Beastmen were a loyalist.
They could be either side. They weren't exactly sanctioned abhumans, but they were sort of like barely tolerated abhumans.
They were sanctioned because they're still in the
They can be on a Rogue Trader's crew and that sort of thing. And there were definitely some Beastmen in Blackstone Fortress too.
Yeah, and there's still Beastmen, loyalist Beastmen in Necromunda.
Is there?
There's one. There's a couple of squats there as well. So yeah, that new box set looked quite cool. I thought the squat with the jump pack looked wicked actually. In fact, I thought all those new squats in that.
See the Votan with the fists and the laser knuckle dusters that he had. That was
really wicked. The Horus Heresy campaign book, we've mentioned it briefly. I think it looks amazing. I love the fact they're bringing Zone Mortalis back for Horus Heresy because that was sorely missed.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that in the new Zone Mortalis rules, they have rules to let you use the boarding action terrain as well for it because it's slightly different. And I don't know how well it will play, but I'm hoping it plays well.
Yeah. Okay.
Cities of Sigmar, they've got some of the best models of the whole release. They look incredible. They look really good, those new models.
Okay.
There's a new Lizardmen refresh, which looks pretty cool. The new Crocs.
Yeah, I mean, the dinosaurs look fairly tasty on that.
They look really good, don't they?
I'm not going to buy them, but they look cool.
There's a new Ossiarch Bone Reapers book and character. I don't give a shit because the Ossiarchs are weird. Grave Lords, however, looked awesome. So that new Vampire Wolf thing. And the new Underworlds box set. It's Underworlds. If you want a competitive game, you should be playing that and not 40k. No, that's not fair. But it's a competitive game. It's great for kids because you should buy a box, play it. But the new Zinch models in that looked wicked.
Yeah, I'll give you that. They did look kind of cool.
They look really cool. And I thought that, I don't know how easy it'd be to do, but get the spawn bases for cow spawn and put some of those weird monsters on it would look awesome.
I mean, Blood Bowl's a complete game at this point with a whole shitload of really good teams already. If they do 2 extra teams a year, that's basically Blood Bowl supported.
Yeah, we're only missing Vampires,
Chaos
Slan.
Dwarves.
They never do Slan. Yeah, Vampires, Chaos Dwarves, Slan.
And then, if they want to be really...
Tomb Kings. We haven't got Tomb Kings yet.
If they want to be really controversial, they could start bringing Age of Sigmar races in.
No, fuck off. They're not invited. But
it's true. It wasn't on the list to be mentioned. They didn't advertise it ahead of time to be mentioned.
No, but I was hoping they would because we've had a few new. Going back to Forge World for a minute, the new star players and that they've been releasing, and those new Necromunda ones. That new Necromunda Lord Helmore model. She looks incredible. She's got Golden Demon.
The woman with the fucking huge dress.
Yeah, that's Golden Demon written all over her.
Okay.
Yeah, they're stunning. So I was hoping we might have seen some Blood Bowl, maybe the Vampires, but we haven't. But again, like Mark said earlier, Adepticon is really catering to the hardcore tournament crowd.
Yeah.
And I don't think that it's the place for Blood Bowl, really. All these games that I'm talking about here, apart from maybe Horus Heresy, but Horus Heresy had a tiny mention, are all fairly competitive, balanced games. There's no crazy mad shit going on here. Kill Team's relatively balanced. Sigmar's pretty well balanced to as good as it's going to be with such a big game.
So there we go.
Very well balanced.
This was our one not shit Games Workshop live stream reveal for the year. I hope you enjoyed it, everybody. We might not get another one.
Yep.
They might all suck for the rest of the year.
3 a.m. Well, no, the one that's got Dante in it will actually be the best one of the year. So
here's some positivity. I like the new Dante model. I'm going to swap the rock out because I'm fed up with Hero Rocks, and I'm going to have some like a wrecked machine or something.
So normally I hate the tactical rocks, but I'm going to leave the tactical rock in this case. And likewise, I'm very happy with the new Dante model. I think it looks really cool.
I think it looks wicked. Going through the chat then, do you think they'll ever do Chaos Dwarfs for Age of Sigmar?
Probably not.
They're a bit... They're not up
for repeating old world Warhammer stuff in general.
There might be some evil dwarfs come, but they won't be Chaos Dwarfs. They just don't work in the modern era at all.
Why are you buying 2 Dantes?
What else we got? Death Company Blood Bowl team. Yeah, that'd be weird.
John, Foz is right. If you don't put Dante on a skateboard, you're missing a fucking trick, mate.
Yeah,
I did think about that.
Wants to know where his Aeronautica Imperialis Storm Talons
and model him with a sling around his arm as well. Yeah.
I'd like the Stormhawk, but they seem to. They're Aeronautica. They've just done the Forge World flyers, which is.
Okay. Yes, they have. There's an Arvis Lighter and an Orca in Aeronautica, which Aeronautica is a fucking good game if you haven't tried it. It's really good fun.
I've bought the first box set, but we've had
this chat, haven't we? I have to give a game of that at some point.
You cannot buy a proper Aeronautica box set anymore.
Do you not?
No. Well, a couple of the guys from our Catapults in the chat at the moment went to Warhammer Fest, or whatever it is, a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And they spoke to them there about
the open day,
yeah, they just don't have one. They don't make one. So if you were to play again,
they did clear that one starter set out the other year, didn't they, for a reduced price from GW, which they never
that's
do.
How I got one. So if you play Tau or something, or wanted to play Tau or Eldar, there are no up-to-date rules for them because the current edition isn't a proper box set and it's only Space Marine on Space Marine. And the previous edition one doesn't.
The Eldar rules were never in there. The Eldar rules were always in the Companion, which was a book separate to the main box set.
But that's gone out of date currently with the current rules and hasn't been updated, which surprised me actually.
Not true. I've got it, but okay, fair enough.
But so you can't buy a box set and get started with that anymore for some reason.
That's a shame. I imagine they'll restart that because
I hope they do,
they're going to be doing a new fleet or two.
Beautiful.
Doing a Chaos fleet makes perfect sense, and they've got some more Space Marine flyers to do. So continuing to support that makes sense.
I hope they do, because it looks wicked, and I'm genuinely looking forward to playing it, actually. Highland doesn't like the new Dante. Yeah, James is saying all the current box games for it are OOP. What else we got? Catapult's ordered the new book anyway. Benno loves the Resident Evil 1 on the GameCube. That was a beautiful game. I loved that. It was properly good.
Votan Air Force in Aeronautica. That'd be an interesting idea. Votan planes.
We
haven't. It'd just be blimps, wouldn't they?
Did they change edition from the Orc Imperium one? Yeah, there are many editions on from the Orc Imperium. That's the one I've got as well.
There's an Orc Imperium. There's an Imperium Tau, and there's an Eldar Space Marines box set. Those are the three main box sets they've done.
And then since the Eldar Space Marine box set, they've now the current version is Horus Heresy Aeronautica Imperialis, and it's all Space Marines.
Yeah, that sucks.
So if you want to go and buy the book now, that's what you get. And they didn't do a box set for some reason. Chrono wants Battlefleet Gothic. I'll be all over that.
Cool. Do we have anything else that we want to talk about from the stream or from 10th Ed or from the Lion and whatnot? Because we've been going on for about an hour and a half now.
I think that's probably covered all the things. So
yeah, if you want to talk to us, bloody super chat us really quickly. Otherwise, we're gonna move on. And
Resi loves the new Lion model. Yeah, we talked about that right at the beginning. We like the new Lion model as well, but we all like different heads. I think. John,
we should have done a vote at the start of the stream for which Lion head you're going to go with, but it's a bit late for that now. Yeah.
John,
is it too late? Should we just do a quick vote?
You can go for it. Just set it up in the chat. Sorry, Tony, say it again.
What head did you prefer for the?
I would go with the winged one because then I would just paint it on my Blood Angel scheme.
Because you've got the winged one, haven't you?
Yeah.
Then you've got the bear one. Then you've got the bear one with the hood, and then you've got the helmet one with the hood. So you've got 4 options.
Yeah, and who's this dead guy on his base? Some random dead guy.
I think it's just a little bit of decorative skull statue work or something, rather than a dead guy.
These are the new awesome Zinch models you've got up there, John.
Yeah, I did have the ones from them.
They look stunning. I think they look really weird and creepy. And
for the record,
Pan's Labyrinth about them.
For the record, I go for Old Man Head with the sort of the tied back hair that he's got going on thing. I thought that's really cool.
Zach wants helmet and hood.
I just want to see what the rules are on that shield man because.
Yeah. Resi wants all 4 heads, and he's going to
You'll find out in a few weeks when they release the book, because obviously book 4 is going on pre-order on Saturday in 2 days' time. So book 5 isn't going to be too far around the corner. They're releasing these books.
Yeah.
Is he gonna actually get rules though this edition, or you think you're just going to save him for 10th?
Yeah, they'll give him a proper 9th Ed set of rules in Arx Fomin.
A month.
They'll be in there.
So he'll have rules for a month, maybe. Yeah. Do you think Dante will get rules in 9th edition, or you just think he's going to be 10th?
I don't know. It really does depend on what fluff they put in with the Oxfam and the Lion book. Because they've confirmed Dante's going to be featured in the book in fluff terms, but whether that's the Primaris one, we have absolutely no idea at this point.
No, we don't. James Gibbs just super chatted us.
Woo!
Superstar James, thank you.
The Forge line is a nicer kit. I'll just use that. I will say the Forge.
It's going to be what, 2 or 3 times the price? So, you've already got it though. It is a nice kit. I'll give you that.
I don't reckon it will. I reckon the new Lion is going to come out at about £60.
How much is Plastic Gilliman right now?
Like $37.50.
But Plastic Lion's going to be the same.
He won't. He'll be way more.
No, he won't.
He's going to be, I reckon, at least £60.
No,
less than that
for one model like that size. It's not even big as a Dreadnought. No way.
Because I'm thinking, think of the other really, really big. Because at 35 quid, that's the same cost as like Helbrecht or something. Like you think of the other big models we've had of 9th.
No, Helbrecht was 25, man. I just bought Helbrecht. It's like 25.
Helbrecht's, I think,
he's
like Helbrecht. I think 28 or 29 these days, following the March price rise. No,
I'm comparing them to things like the Void Dragon and things like that.
Yeah, no. Lion's going to be 45 quid tops. I'd quite happily say Lion would be 45 quid tops.
I do like the new model. I will say I genuinely think it'd be really fun to paint. But I also really love the 4-drop one. That is
Carter. He's not had a lot of sleep. He's on a little bit of a sort of depressed. He's had a little bit to drink. He's clearly in his cups here. He's just.
I've had 2 hours sleep in the last week.
Yeah.
And sad.
I will drop that Blood Bowl shit that I said I'd drop off for you next week, Tony, when I drop by.
Oh yeah, I'll see you.
Yeah, I'll bring that with me.
But
he's smaller. He's smaller than Rabuti Gilliman. Rabuti Gilliman is 36.
He's not smaller. He's a little bit lower. He's the same sort of size as Gilliman.
Well, in the picture they showed, he's smaller.
Yeah, but that's because his base is a little bit lower down the picture. Look at where the bases start.
Yeah, I think the picture's trying to show he's about the same size. They just didn't do a very good job of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I genuinely love that model. I think he looks absolutely stunning.
James, I love you. Fuck you, mate.
What was that?
The fucking headset has been pressing against my rear jaw all night.
Anyway.
Fair enough.
What else we got? So, I think that's more or less most of the. Zach reckons £55. That's what I reckon as well, Zach. That's why I reckon it's going to come in.
All right. I've already got a money bet on with you for the other one, so I'm not going to do another one on this one. But I reckon 45 quid tops for the line. Yeah,
I'm with Tony. It's not going to be more than 45.
You with Tony on that?
Sorry. Yeah, I mean I'm on no sleep as well. To be honest, I'm with you, Mark. My little one, friggin' Kev took forever to play his turns last night, so I didn't get finished till 1, and then I came home to the kids.
I haven't cleared this with everybody yet, so if I get taken off the stream for saying this, then you all know what's happened here. We have got a giveaway planned as part of our thank you, everybody, for helping us hit 1,000 subscribers. The giveaway will be for a copy of Devastation of Baal, the physical novel signed by the three of us. We've yet to work out exactly what we're going to do to work out who it goes to, but the giveaway will absolutely be a thing that we've been sat on for far too long, and we're going to fucking do. And because I've said it out loud now, we're going to have to actually do it.
Yeah. I mean, it's been sat over here on my other desk in its cellophane since you sent me about 2 months ago for about 2 months. I haven't signed it. I haven't taken it out of the cellophane, so I assume that's what it is.
It is a paperback copy of Devastation of Baal, signed by the three Grots.
Cool.
Which will work out.
Yeah.
Catapult suggested that we have a 3 Grots group sleep, and
that would be fucking brilliant. I'll look
to get all three of us. It'd need a big bed.
We'll have the much looked forward to road trip where Tony and Mark drive up for 8 hours to visit John. Then we all spend 2 days asleep doing nothing. There we go.
That's going to happen. That's going to happen.
It sounds about right.
We have all these plans, all these games we're going to do, and things we're going to see, and get drunk together and film together, and just go.
We're going to do it.
We're quite chat.
I've already decided.
Sounds like something that would happen from Top Gear. They'd just be
yeah, love. We're just hiring a villa or like a hotel for like a couple of days to go away and have some quality time with the lads. Yeah. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine.
Right. Okay. So I think on that note, and because it is getting late, and because I've just had a text that I need to go and get a bottle of milk ready.
Milk. Use some more milk.
Yeah. Not. That's just weird. That I think it's probably time for us to go. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for taking part in the stream. Thank you to all of our super chats. You have been absolutely wonderful.
It's been a pleasure. It's been far too long, and I'm going to fuck off on holiday, so I'm going to do this again for a little while.
No, we will be back on the air as soon as we can. Things are a little bit sporadic at the moment, but they will pick back up as time moves on.
Indeed.
Probably with some specialist game stuff, because there's not a lot of point in talking about 40k at the moment.
Yep. So we'll see how it goes. There'll be stuff. Probably on a 2-week basis. We'll see how it goes.
Yep. So I hope you all have a lovely rest of your time, and catch you on the next one.
Cheers. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much for watching, guys.
Bye-bye.
Good night. I'm going to put up a banner I made last time.
It's not going to be 36 quid.
A banner?
It's not going to be 36 quid, John. You're going to be disappointed.
36.
A year of Warhammer 40,000, 2022. That's from the last stream. You are not prepared.
Okay. We are prepared. No, we're definitely not prepared. Reziel was not prepared.
Reziel wasn't. He missed the beginning.